So today I will speak something about power of association. The scriptures are stressing so much the association of devotees, if at all you want to make advancement in devotional service. Why do the scriptures stress this association of devotees? There are many reasons. The Bhagavad Gita says, Sangat Sanjayate Kama. It is by association that you develop desires. Your desires are according to your association. The desiring capacity is innate in every living being. Every living being has got desiring power or capacity. But what kind of desires arise within a person, that depends on sangha, association. Even though as spirit soul, we are superior to dull matter. This matter cannot desire. But still, we are influenced by association. We are influenced by association. Simply by association with materialistic persons or with sense enjoyers, with non-devotees, we develop so many bad desires. Bad desires from the perspective of devotion service. In the Bhagavad Gita it is explained that as soon as we associate with materialistic persons, immediately there are so many material desires. And if you consider that we have been associating with materialistic persons for many lifetimes, so our heart is full of so many material desires. And that's why material existence. If there is material desire, there has to be material existence. If there is spiritual desire and no material desire, then there is only spiritual existence. So our existence is simply dependent on what kind of desires we have. The very fact that you are coming to this temple is because you have some spiritual desire. Those who don't have any spiritual desire, they will not come here. They will never come here. There will be some other place. So this association is the cause for this desire. So if we associate with devotees, we develop spiritual desire. We associate with materialists, we develop material desire. Very simple. Now this is very nicely illustrated in two different descriptions in the Mahabharata and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Mahabharata is a description of the association of one great devotee, Bhishma, with the Kauravas. Bhishma is described as the greatest among devotees. He is described as one of the Mahajanas. In this universe there are 12 personalities who are called Mahajanas. They are great devotees. They are ideal persons whose footsteps we should follow. Mahajano yena yathasya pantha. This is the statement of the Mahabharata. We should follow the footsteps of Mahajanas. Particularly if you want to understand what is dharma, that is not possible by any other method other than following the footsteps of Mahajanas. And there are 12 Mahajanas listed in the scriptures in our universe. One of them is Bhishma. Now, even a personality as great as Bhishma, he became influenced by bad association. Bhishma, by associating with the Kauravas, he lost his sense of discrimination When did this happen? When the Pandavas, they were invited by Duryodhana for a gambling match. Yudhishthira was ruling in Indraprastha. Duryodhana was ruling in Hastinapura. This was the time when the Pandavas, they lost their father when they were very young. So Pandu was the emperor of the world, ruling from Hastinapura. The seat of the king who rules the whole world is Hastinapura in those days, present-day Delhi. So Pandu became the emperor because his elder brother Dhritarashtra was blind. So even though Dhritarashtra should have become the emperor, but he could not because he was blind by birth. So Pandu became the emperor, and Pandu had 5 sons. So after Pandu, the next emperor should be his eldest son. Prabhupada describes this called the law of primogeniture. The eldest son becomes the next emperor. Of course, in the Vedic time there was also training. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, Yudhishthira, the eldest son of Pandu, was trained up. Because Yudhishthira lost his father when he was very young. Therefore, Dhritarashtra took charge of training and bringing up these Pandavas also, along with his own sons, the Kauravas. So Pandavas and Kauravas grew up together in the royal palace of Hastinapura, while Bhishma advised Dhritarashtra to be the caretaker king. So there has to be a king ruling. So Bhishma should have become the king, but since he had taken a vow, he is never going to sit on the throne. So he made Dhritarashtra, even though Dhritarashtra was blind, he made Dhritarashtra the caretaker king. Of course, Dhritarashtra was not alone. He was always advised by very qualified brahmanas. And even he had his younger brother Vidura also as his advisor. Vidura was very, very intelligent. He was expert in politics. So Vidura was giving very good advice to Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra was ruling very nicely. And Bhishma was also there to advise Dhritarashtra. Later on, when Drona came in as the teacher for preaching the military science to the Pandavas and Kauravas, Drona also became an advisor. Drona also was a very learned Brahmana, and he was expert in military science also. So Drona also became an advisor. So Drona, Bhishma, Vidura, and so many other Brahmanas, they were all advising Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra was just an interim caretaker king. He is not the real king. So Yudhishthira had to grow up. So while the Pandavas, headed by Yudhishthira, and Kauravas headed by Duryodhana, were together studying under Dronacharya, that time it became very clear that the Pandavas are actually more powerful and better qualified than the Kauravas. Especially Bhima. When there was a wrestling match, Bhima could challenge anybody and defeat them very, very easily. Because Bhima was very, 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 very powerful. Very strong from childhood itself. So Duryodhana became envious of Bhima. And Duryodhana once tried to kill Bhima, but he didn't succeed. So many times the Pandavas were attempted to be completely destroyed, killed, but Duryodhana never succeeded. So Duryodhana, when he could not succeed in killing Yudhishthira should have become the emperor when he grew up. But very cleverly, what did Dhritarashtra do? Dhritarashtra told that Pandavas, they should actually stay separately in an independent palace instead of staying in the same palace as the Kauravas. He said, better you stay in a different palace, and he built a special palace in another place made of shellac. In that palace, his plan was send the Pandavas and set fire to the palace when they are inside, and in that way kill them. You know how the Pandavas got advice from Vidura, and Pandavas escaped. So, when Dhritarashtra came to know that Pandavas actually did not die, and they had survived that attack, so Dhritarashtra externally he was posing as if the Pandavas' death was very painful for him, and internally he was very happy. But when he discovered the Pandavas had actually survived, then he externally appeared very joyful. Oh, they are really living. Very nice. Inside he was very, very sad. How they managed to survive. Anyway, so being a diplomat, he very nicely welcomed back the Pandavas, and the Pandavas were then again told that actually Yudhishthira should have got back the throne because he had grown up. But they were told that you stay separately in another city. A special city was constructed. So Yudhishthira, what he did, he took the help of one Mayadanava to construct this beautiful city, this new city, capital, Indraprastha. So then when Yudhishthira went to that city constructed by Mayadanava using expert craftsmanship, then Duryodhana became very envious of the Pandavas. They have such a beautiful city, and they have such good influence, and they are so powerful, and they are so righteous, and they have very good fame among the citizens. So Duryodhana thought some other way we have to do something. So he took help of this Shakuni, his maternal uncle, his mother's brother, Gandhari's brother Shakuni. Shakuni was expert in cheating in gambling matches. So Shakuni was employed, or not employed, he was taken help. Shakuni offered help to Duryodhana, and Duryodhana invited Yudhishthira for a gambling match. Yudhishthira went to the gambling match and lost his kingdom. He also lost his wife, Draupadi, because Duryodhana had enviousness against Draupadi. Duryodhana could not win Draupadi in the Swayamvara. Draupadi Swayamvara was conducted by her father, Drupada. Drupada wanted Draupadi to marry a suitable prince who was very, very expert. Actually, Drupada wanted to marry his daughter only to Arjuna. But he didn't want to directly antagonize the other princes. So he cleverly devised a Swayamvara ceremony. In Swayamvara ceremony, the princess can marry somebody who passes a test. So the test was that a particular target which will be not stationary, and the prince who wants to marry should actually shoot the target using an arrow, and by looking at the reflection in the water below. So he knew that only Arjuna can do it and nobody else can do it. So very intelligently he devised this particular test, and he knew that Arjuna actually can pass this test, and Arjuna only will marry my daughter, nobody else can marry. So as he had actually planned, as he had thought, nobody could pass the test. Actually nobody passed the test. Because at that time, when the Swayamvara was being held, then Pandavas actually had escaped from that shellac house which was set on fire. So they were living in the forest, hiding in the forest, not living openly, they were hiding in the forest. They were living incognito. So they had to come out and actually announce to the world that they are still alive, they are still surviving. So they are thinking, what is the opportunity for them actually to go back to Hastinapura, to the palace, or to come out in the world and announce. So when they heard about this Draupadi Swayamvara announced by Drupada, then they thought that is a good time. So they went. Of course, they were disguised as Brahmanas, and they went for the Swayamvara. As Brahmanas, they cannot participate in the Swayamvara. Only Kshatriyas are allowed. So all the Kshatriyas who had come there, they failed the test. So Drupada was very disappointed. He thought that why Arjuna is not coming forth. Of course, Drupada had heard that Arjuna and all the Pandavas had died in the fire in that shellac house. But he also thought the Pandavas were very intelligent and they would have somehow managed to escape. That also he thought. And therefore, to take a chance whether Arjuna is still living, he devised this test. And he thought Arjuna will come forward as a Kshatriya and actually pass the test and he will marry Draupadi. But actually, the Pandavas were disguised. So they are sitting there in the Swayamvara, but as Brahmanas, they were sitting amidst the other audience, not among the kings, not among the princes. So all the princes failed, and Drupada was very disappointed that he couldn't find anybody suitable. So then he announced, anyone among the audience wants to try and pass this test. So then Arjuna came forward. And Arjuna said, actually I am not a Kshatriya, I am a Brahmana. If your daughter is willing to marry a Brahmana, or if you are willing to marry your daughter to a Brahmana, then I can try. I am a Brahmana. So Drupada looked at this disguised Arjuna. He doesn't look like a Brahmana. He doesn't look like a Brahmana, he's like a Kshatriya, but he's claiming to be a Brahmana because he's dressed like a Brahmana. So, okay, doesn't matter, even if you are a Brahmana. If you are so qualified to pass this test, then I don't mind marrying my daughter. So it's alright. So, because nobody has to protest, because all the other Kshatriyas had failed the test. So, the other Kshatriyas were watching how this Brahmana was going to try, let us see. So Arjuna very easily passed the test. And then everybody said, oh, who is this Brahmana? Who is this Brahmana? And they became curious because his name was not announced in the beginning. Oh, one Brahmana from the audience is trying. The Pandavas had disguised themselves and dressed like poor Brahmanas. They were not dressed very nicely. They were after all living in exile, living outside. Right? They had escaped from a great danger. So they were not very well dressed. So they were just looking like some poor Brahmanas. So Arjuna looking like a poor Brahmana. Who is this Brahmana? So some false name Arjuna gave. Okay, this is Brahmana. Which village? Some village name. Or some nondescript Brahmana from some remote village. He is come forward. So I was wondering, how will I marry my daughter to this person? He has passed the test. So then Arjuna told, wait a minute, I'll bring all my family members and introduce them to you. And then you can arrange for the actual marriage ceremony with your daughter. So then Drupada was waiting, who are these family members? Which family does it belong? What is his background? Not able to understand anything. So then when he brought his other brothers to actually introduce them, we are actually Pandavas. And he did not die in that fire, and we survived the attack, and Arjuna revealed his identity as Arjuna, Drupala was extremely pleased. He was very happy. So that is when Arjuna had actually married Draupadi and gone back to Hastinapura, all the 5 Pandavas. And that is when Dhritarashtra had to actually accede that the Pandavas had to be given the kingdom. But actually Duryodhana, he had become envious because again in that Draupadi Swayamvara also he had lost to Arjuna. So he had maintained this enviousness against Draupadi, and that's why to take revenge during the gambling match he told Yudhishthira, you have lost everything but you can still wage a bet on Draupadi. So Draupadi was offered in the gambling match by Yudhishthira, and as Shakuni had expertly arranged the match to cheat the Pandavas lost even Draupadi in that match. They lost their kingdom. They themselves, they were slaves of the Kauravas because they lost themselves. They lost even Draupadi. Draupadi also became a maidservant of the Kauravas. So when Draupadi was lost, then immediately she was summoned to that assembly in which the gambling match was going on, in which all the elders were present, all the Kuru dynasty elders were present. Bhishma was there, Vidura was there, Dhritarashtra was there, Dronacharya was there, all the learned Brahmins were there. So in that assembly, Draupadi was brought and Dushasana, one of the brothers of Duryodhana, he attempted to actually strip her naked. It's totally against all rules and regulations, all etiquette. Even though she is a maidservant, but they cannot mistreat her like that. She is a respectable lady, the most chaste woman. So how can they mistreat her? So, because the Pandavas had become slaves of the Kauravas, they could not protest. They tried to protest, but they could not. And in that assembly, when Draupadi asked for protection, asked for shelter, nobody actually opposed Dushasana's misbehavior, except 2 persons. One was Vidura. Vidura opposed, but Vidura's words were not heard by Dhritarashtra or Duryodhana very seriously. And one more person who opposed was Vikarna, the brother of one of the brothers of Duryodhana. Vikarna opposed. So, but still, Dushasana was not deterred. He was seeing that Bhishma, Drona, they were not opposing. So the Mahabharata describes why Bhishma did not oppose. Why Bhishma did not oppose? It's a wrongful act. So that is described that he became polluted. His mind became polluted by bad association with God. The power of association. Associate with such crooked, evil-minded, Dhatarashtrasya durbuddhe. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says, durbuddhe, evil-minded Duryodhana. By his association, Bhishma also became influenced. Bhishma also became influenced. Again, it is seen when the battle of Kurukshetra was inevitable. All peace attempts failed to stop the war. But when the kings had to take sides, Bhishma should have taken the side of Pandavas. Bhishma knew Pandavas are righteous. They are the rightful claimants of the throne. He knows that. But still he took the side of the Kauravas. Why? Again, because he was polluted by bad association. That's why he fought with Kauravas. He didn't fight with Pandavas. And if he has to fight on the Kaurava side, he has to kill the Pandavas. The Pandavas. He should be fighting on the Pandava side and kill the Kauravas. He is doing just the opposite. And so this is the influence. Even a great devotee, if he associates with non-devotees, with miscreants, with evil-minded persons, a devotee also can get influence. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Asasangatyam e Vaishnavacha. Vaishnava, devotee, means you should give up the association of asat. Now, two kinds of asat Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes. One is Stri Sangi, a person who is very attached to material enjoyment. Stri doesn't mean woman. Stri means that which expands the field of material enjoyment. That's the meaning of the word Stri. So one of the objects which expands the field of enjoyment is an enjoyable object like the opposite sex. In that sense, Stri can refer to a woman. For a man. And for a woman, the object of enjoyment is a man. So either a man or a woman can be referred to as Stri actually. If you go by the etymological meaning of the word Stri. So, those who associate with objects of material enjoyment, those who are sense enjoyers in this world, they are one category of asat. Should give up their company. Because if you associate with them, you also develop desire for material enjoyment. You also desire to expand the field of your enjoyment. Already, with this body, we have some opportunity for enjoyment. Our senses always dragging us towards sense objects. Correct? Our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, our skin, always dragging us towards enjoyment. And this material world is full of sense objects. It is like an ocean of sense objects. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes. Jive fele vishaya sagare. Like in the ocean, how much water is there in the ocean? So much water is there. Correct? Similarly, in this world, it is an ocean of sense objects. Vishaya sagara. Vishaya means sense object. Sagara. So much sense objects are there. And anything you see, anything you touch, anything you smell, right? These objects have got all different characteristics. Something is nice to sense of touch, something is nice for taste, something is nice for the eyes, something is nice to hear, something is nice to smell. So all objects have got one or more of these five characteristics. So all objects are potentially objects of sense enjoyment. That's how more people get bewildered. They have so many possessions and they keep on increasing their possessions. If they can increase. Whole life people work. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. So like these rich people, they have collection of cars, antique cars. Why? What does it mean? You can have, car for traveling, car is meant for traveling. He's got enough cars for traveling, but he still wants to possess more cars. So he keeps them in one showroom, the showcase. He keeps those cars, antique cars, simply there for display. That's all. Just for him to enjoy seeing them. That's all. So like this, all kinds of crazy possessions people have. So many possessions. So many things. Unnecessary, anartha. So that is the danger of material associations. Three sangha. Associating with people who are attached to material enjoyment, and consequently they simply are mad after possessing so many different material sense objects. They are busy working day and night for getting these objects more and more and more. Then the second kind of asat Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes is asad. Abhakta. Abhakta means non-devotee. Simply those who are opposed to devotional service. And who are opposed to devotional service? Krishna describes four kinds of people who are opposed to devotional service. Namam dushkrutino mudha. All four are dushkrutina. They are always engaged in miscreant activities. Miscreant activities. They do something which is ultimately destructive. They cannot do anything constructive. Even if they are very big scientists, very, very intelligent, and they are able to do big, big research, still what is their research leading to? Atom bomb. This is called dushkrutina. Prabhupada points out that this dushkrutina, already people are dying, every day people are dying due to so many different causes. But why they have to produce something which will accelerate the death of millions of people at a time? One atom bomb is dropped in Japan. So many people died. And not only people died when the bomb was dropped, after that, the after effect of that atomic radiation, so many generations of children who are born are crippled, are having so many mental derangement, so many problems. People are suffering in so many ways. Even after the death has happened, those who survived, they are suffering in so many ways. So, what is the value of this discovery of an atom bomb? This is called dushkrutina. So, there's four categories of dushkrutina. One is called mudha, the foolish, donkey-like human beings. They simply want to work hard for sense gratification. They don't want to do any devotional service. They don't want to worship Krishna. They don't want to accept spiritual life. They say we are always busy working hard for sense gratification. Then Naragama, the lowest of mankind. They are basically uncivilized people. Uncivilized people. Such uncivilized people are actually very, very low class people. They plainly openly engage in sense gratification of all kinds of horrible things. Then there are Maya Pahuta Jnana. Maya Pahuta Jnana means their intelligence or their knowledge is stolen away by Maya because they are dushkrutina. So using discrimination, even if somebody does atomic research, he can find out how to use this atomic research for some good purpose. Some good purpose. He may do research and he may utilize the finding or the discovery for some good purpose. How to save human beings from death. Let them do research. How to find out how to save human beings from death. That is required. Right? That is good work. But instead some fellow is discovering how to kill human beings. So this is Maya Pahuta Jnana. They have lost actually the sense of discrimination. And therefore they engage in horrible work. Ugraka. And finally, Krishna describes the fourth category of dushkrutina, who are averse to devotions, who are abhakta. is asuram bhavam ashrita. They are openly atheistic. They deny God. Or they say, I am God. Everyone is God. Why do you worship some other God? Hiranyakashipu, when his brother Hiranyaksha was killed by Vishnu in the form of Varaha, so he became angry against Vishnu. He said, oh, my brother has been unjustly killed by Vishnu. Actually, Vishnu never wanted to kill Hiranyaksha. He simply came to rescue the earth planet, which was thrown into the Garbha ocean by this Hiranyaksha, by this miscreant Hiranyaksha. So, because the earth is a place of habitation for so many living entities in this world and supports so much life, so the demigods, they were disturbed that where is this earth planet which is a place of habitation? Where is this earth planet? So then they found out that it is actually thrown into the Garbha ocean by this Hiranyaksha. And they didn't find any means of rescuing the earth planet. They didn't have the power, they didn't have the powerful, strong person who opposed Hiranyaksha. So then they prayed to Vishnu. Vishnu said, okay, I will come and actually rescue this earth planet. So he lifted the earth planet from the bottom of the Garbha ocean, brought it back into its orbit. But while he was doing that, this Hiranyaksha challenged him, how can you do this? You cannot do this unless you defeat me. It was challenged, Vishnu defeated. And in that duel, actually Hiranyaksha was killed. So what is the mistake of Vishnu? There is no mistake. But Hiranyakashipu, his brother, became angry with Vishnu. So I'm going to kill Vishnu. And when he could not find Vishnu, he was told by Narada, Vishnu actually is searching for Vishnu. Where is Vishnu? Where is Vishnu? Because actually Vishnu cannot be seen. He is transcendental personality. He cannot be seen with material eyes. So Hiranyakashipu can never see Vishnu. Even if Vishnu is in front of him, he cannot see. So Narada told actually Vishnu is searching for Vishnu. Vishnu is in the heart of every humanity. So then oh, Vishnu is afraid of me. Therefore he is hidden in the heart of every human. He's gone and hiding, gone into hiding. Because he is afraid of me. Okay, let me wait. How long he will be in hiding? When he comes out, I am going to kill him. And meantime, Hiranyakashipu decided, let me now give trouble to all the followers of Vishnu, all the devotees of Vishnu. So he gave instruction to all his followers. Go and stop this Vishnu worship. Go and destroy all the sacrifices that are being offered to Vishnu. Go and plunder the Brahmanas who are devotees of Vishnu. Brahmana is devotee of Vishnu. Because Brahmanas always worship Vishnu in the form of Saligraj. So, Brahmanas, go and actually destroy them, kill them, plunder them, loot them. So, these followers of Hiranyakashipu began to terrorize. And Hiranyakashipu. So, like that, Asuram Bhava Ashrita is an example of Asura. Demoniac nature. Ravana. He is also demoniac nature. So all these demoniac nature people, they are openly atheistic. They are against Vishnu. They are against devotional service. They never take to devotional service. They never serve devotion. So these abhakta you have to avoid. These four kinds of abhakta. Their association is very dangerous. If at all you want to progress in devotional service, you have to avoid. So sense enjoyers, even if they are not openly atheistic, even if they are not directly against devotional service, in their association you lose your determination for practicing bhakti. because they allure you to get into sense enjoyment, which is opposed to devotees. The sense in gratification and self-realization don't go together. They are opposed to each other. Therefore, these two you have to avoid. Association of these two kinds of asat. Sense enjoyers and non-devotees. Then you should also positively associate with devotees. Because your own determination may not be so strong. Your determination cannot be strong. So how do you strengthen your determination? By positive association with devotees. And in that way, by devotee association, you can very easily make advancement in Krishna consciousness. Devotee association, naturally you develop good desires. And you are able to give up material desires. Your heart becomes cleansed, because of which even the material desires will not bother you. Even without your separate endeavor, so many material desires are washed away, are cleansed away. Because you will see very clearly they are anartha, they are unnecessary. It's like Prabhupada many times says, what is the need for smoking? A cigarette. No need. But foolish fellow is thinking by smoking I am enjoying. He is thinking like that. That is foolishness. Actually he is burning. But under the spell of illusion, Maya, he is thinking I am enjoying. So, by good association, you become sober to be able to see and realize and give up so many unnecessary material desires. All these material desires are called anartha, unnecessary. So, give up this anartha. That happens automatically by good association, by association. Sadhusanga. And therefore, sadhusanga is expressed very much in this. On the one side, you should avoid association with non-devotees, and other side, you should associate with devotees. And when you associate with devotees, automatically you are free from association with non-devotees. So, only one thing, positive association of devotees. Automatically, all bad desires will be washed away. And then you will be left with only spiritual desires for advancement in devotees. Very nicely given. When the desire becomes strong, then you are naturally attracted to devotional service. Naturally attracted. Then very easy to execute devotional service. Attraction, the power of attraction. Krishna is supremely attractive. Similarly, his devotional service is also very attractive. But by association, you develop that attraction. So therefore, associate with devotees. In that way, your attraction for Krishna, attraction for bhakti will increase more and more. Any questions?
How to retain freshness in Krishna consciousness?
That is by attraction. Attraction is what makes devotional service very nice. Attraction. Attraction is possible by association. Association means constantly hearing, chanting, reading, discussing, preaching, everything centered around Krishna. Everything centered around Krishna. Actually, Krishna is the essence of everything. You read the Bhagavad Gita, you understand how Krishna is the essence of everything. So you can see Krishna everywhere. Specifically, how to see Krishna in the material world. This is what is discussed today. I described Krishna in 10th chapter. Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti Yoga. So this Vibhuti Yoga is the technique of practicing devotional service while in the material world. While in the material world. In the spiritual world, Krishna is directly there for all devotees. But in this material world, Krishna is not openly, directly present like that. We see by our ordinary eyes, no, we cannot see. So then how to perceive the presence of Krishna in the material world? before we develop our spiritual vision. So that is described as Vibhuti Yoga. So 10th chapter, Krishna says, I am the super soul seated in everyone's heart. Aham Atma Gurākesha Sarva Bhutashya. Like that he goes on to describe so many different descriptions. If you read those descriptions, then you learn to become Krishna conscious. Bhayam, fear itself, whether of death or of anything, is due to Vitiyabhiniveshatah sya, because of our coming under the influence of the second energy, Krishna. There are two energies of Krishna under which we can be influenced, having influence. One is the spiritual energy, and the other one is the material energy. So Krishna has both these energies. When you are under the influence of Krishna's spiritual energy, then you are fearless. When you are under the influence of Krishna's material energy, you are full of fear. So when you come out of material, influence of material energy, and that's possible only when you come under the influence of spiritual energy. That's a prayer, Hare Krishna. When you say Hare, refers to the spiritual energy of Krishna. So you come under the influence of Krishna's spiritual energy. Then you are, that is also the endeavor of devotional service. Devotional service will be trying to come under the shadow of Krishna's spiritual energy. Then all fear is gone, you become fearless. Bhajahure mana Srinandanandana Abhaya Charana Ravindana. Krishna's lotus feet are described as the source of all fearlessness. So you take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet by chanting, by doing different kinds of devotional service. But if you are not fixed in devotional service, then there is a possibility that you will come away from bhakti and you will fall into material influence. Then you do material activities, then you will again filled with fear. So, to always engage in devotional service and to be fixed up in devotional service, that is the requirement. Then you are not afraid of death or anything.